the Hex Bar Deadlift is going to be our preferred first introduction to barbell deadlifting. So after you gain great competency with kettlebells that allow for a little bit more flexibility in movement and variability in where your feet go or your hips end up, etc., as we move to the barbell movements, you're going to need to be a little bit more locked in technically. So we're starting with the Hex Bar, which still gives us a little bit of a middle ground of giving freedom of movement while being able to load up greater amounts of weight without the cumbersomeness of those kettlebells getting bigger, etc. I'm inside the bar, and I'm going to set the feet up possibly slightly more narrow than what I was doing on the kettlebell. So my feet are going to be somewhere around hip to shoulder width again. I'm going to allow an angle of my toes if my hips need that. But I'm going to find that position that allows the big toe, pinky toe, and heel to remain firm to the ground. As I push my butt back, I am thinking slightly about creating outward tension to get some stability in my hips as I make my way down to the bar. Now, most hex bars have two different heights available to them. This is those low handles, which would be the deepest range of motion we're typically going to ask somebody to get to. If your mobility restricts you from getting down there and you can no longer support that flat back of that supported core, you're just going to simply flip the bar over, and now you have typically a 4-inch elevated handle. Okay? I'm going to show you from this position since we got it. Setting my feet, bracing my belly, pushing my butt to the wall behind me as I softly bend those knees until those hands get to the handles. That is my position. I'm going to grip tightly. I'm going to get those lats engaged by thinking about my shoulders pushing down towards my hips. And because I have this narrower stance, I'm really queuing up, push the ground away. A great way to think of this is that the bar is not going to move, it's the floor that's going to move. So create your tension and imagine push the ground away. That helps you create a better rhythm between your knees, your hips, and your shoulders as everything gets stacked at the top. On the way down, I'm going to think push my butt back, soften my knees, and I'm going to land in the same position in which my hands and the bar is in line with those laces. Now the Hex Bar, because it doesn't have anything touching me in the front or the back, if you have bad rhythm in your hips and your knees, or if you don't have the ability to stabilize that upper body, you're going to see that bar swing back and forth. Okay? An optimal position from the side, when everything is engaged, that bar should travel a straight line up and down. You'll see to do that, I started with my feet in my position. I worked on my hips reaching back, my knees softened. And then the next thing is, you want the back of your armpit to really line up with your hand position. That way I know that my center of gravity, my base of support are all in line, and that bar, where the weight is actually being held, is all in line to stay stacked under those shoulders throughout the entire position. That's your Hex Bar Deadlift.